Welcome to the Library of Humanity. Merry Christmas. I'm back out here on the farm. It's kind of windy and rainy. I'm back out here in nature. This is another look at another perspective of what Christmas is. One way of looking at Christmas is just another day of the year. It's not any more special than any other day. To say that one day is more special than another is to compare, which is comparing and contrasting. There's a contrast between the good and the bad. So you kind of assume that like every other day besides Christmas is not as good. But when you go beyond time, then it's only good. So good and bad only exist in the perspective of the idea that there's a day and there's another day, and then you go to bed and then you wake up and there's another day. But when you're living in the oneness, it's outside of time. It's completely in time, but it's actually outside of time. It's because you're being your true self. You're going inside of the I am. You're going at the I am, and then you're going inside of the I am to your soul, and you're going beyond your soul into your true self. Because to get to your true self, you have to go beyond your soul even. And listening to the wind is another way to understand your true self, because you see that you are the same as the wind. The wind is also you. When you start seeing all of this oneness, the sun, the rain, the wind, my body, the dogs and the cows in the background, you can see that Christmas, it's kind of a myth. Like, it's an idea that people have. Christmas is just another day full of happiness and suffering. But going beyond that happiness and suffering, that duality between happiness and suffering, you enter into complete bliss, complete happiness, which is going through your soul and living as the true self. You have to go through the I am, go through the soul, go through the nothingness, and then you arrive at the essence, the light of Christ. You enter into that Christness, that light of Christ that is beyond all goodness of Christmas. Like, the goodness of Christmas is very, very up and down. But the light of Christ itself, or the true I am, the true self, that is neither good nor bad. It's actually incorporating both, which makes it perfect. So when you incorporate both Christmas and not Christmas into the same idea, into the same being, or if you incorporate both good and bad, happiness and suffering, you incorporate both. You can think of happiness and suffering as a spectrum. You incorporate both, and then you say, and you know, it's a knowing, it's a sense, it's an existence of trueness, of oneness. And that is the natural state. The natural way of humans is going beyond all of these dualities. But it's actually, so the first nature of humans is to see these dualities, these differences, these spectrums. But the really natural way is living as Christ, living as the Buddha. And for example, I can see the wind is really, it's if you exist kind of like the wind exists, the wind isn't pretending to be more special than anything else. But when we attach to things like Christmas, we assume that other things are more special. And specialness or uniqueness, it connotes or it emphasizes difference. So you say something is special because it's different than something else. But when you're in this oneness, you're like, yes, everything is the same, like deeply the same. The wind is I am is the cows are I am. So there's this infinite like continued connection between the I am and all natural and civil things. So civilization is all of these human things, but you say I am not different than civilization. civilization, and I am not different than nature. So you're living in both nature and civilization and saying that that's what I am. And this is exactly what life is you're living in this duality, but also beyond the duality. So you're living in duality, which is full of happiness and suffering, and you're living in this oneness, this non-duality, where everything, all things with the essence of all things is deeply the same as everything else. And that's the oneness. But when you're living in this idea where there's Christmas and not Christmas, it's 5 o'clock, then it's 6 o'clock, then it's 7 o'clock, and then there's here and over there, where you're separating all of these things from each other. And those are actually equal. Where there's the duality and the non-duality. So that is actually a super advanced spiritual topic, is living in this duality and non-duality. You're living in the separateness and the oneness. Because you see that's actually deeply one. It's deeply the same. And I think that requires a lot of spiritual development to see that. I'm going to go a little bit outside of the wind so you can hear me. But I really think that's where true beauty lies, is living in both oneness and separateness. If you have any questions of how to go there, I have videos on self-inquiry. That's might be one of the top practices, but that's kind of an advanced practice. So kind of in maybe a beginner or an intermediate stage of kind of knowing what I'm talking about, I would say is to dedicate 5 minutes a day to focus on your breathing. And you put your awareness on your breathing, 5 minutes a day. So maybe if you can take 5 minutes out of your Christmas day to focus on your breathing, that's going to be a good first step to understanding how pure consciousness, or Christ, is no different than all of these things and ideas and events that you see in the separate realm of existence. So that's it. If you have any questions, comment below. If you like the video, click the like. I'm going to make another video in a couple days, so I'll see you then. Peace.